Okay, so I'm currently reading Never Let Me Go. I am now on part 2 because I wanted to understand more about what this book entails before I sat down to talk to you. But I'm confused and I don't want to be spoiled for the book, so I haven't really looked at reviews on anything. But I did watch a video of someone saying, like, either you're going to love or hate this book. It really depends on your preference of storytelling. Right now, I feel like I don't know anything. This is told in one perspective, or in Kathy's perspective, and she's reflecting back on her life. So in part 1, she is at a boarding school that kind of feels like a cult. It's giving that kind of vibe. But I don't like Kathy. I don't like her at all. Actually, I don't know if I like any characters. I'm not really connecting with anybody. But I was confused, like, starting from page 1. Because it was talking about carriers, it was talking about donors, and it was talking about, like, some other stuff. And I still don't know what it means. And I'm assuming part 2 and part 3 is when we get more into it. But there's Kathy, there's Tommy, and there's Ruth. And they're all kind of friends. I don't really want to say they are friends. I just want to say they know each other. And because they live in a boarding school all together, there's always an interaction. If anything, I feel like Tommy is the only character I like because he gives off, like, this innocence about him. Where, like, he has, like, no malicious intent towards anybody. Even though, like, people make fun of him and he throws tantrums, but he's trying to grow as a person. But Kathy gives off mean girl, pick me energy, where she doesn't really like Tommy. I feel like she just likes knowing what he's doing because she's not a real friend. Like, let me see if I could find it, because there's a lot of red tabs. I'm tabbing. I don't know if you can see it actually, but there's a lot of red tabs because there's a lot of times where people are pissing me off, and I don't know if it's because they're just kids. Like, part 1 age range is from like 8 to like 16 years old, where like it time jumps between those ages while they're in the boarding school, and you learn more about the boarding school and what they're doing, kind of. But it's very mean girl energy until they get something that they want. And then Ruth is like the popular girl that everybody wants to be friends with. But if you do something to be on her bad side, you kind of get ghosted, and then, like, people don't want to talk to you, so you become, like, isolated. And it ends off with, like, Tommy and Ruth dating. They're like 16 now. In this conversation with their guardians. They're not actually like parents, but it's like the teachers of the boarding school that they call their guardians, talking about how, like, I'm trying to understand it, because they're talking about sex, like education, but not actually like education of sex. But they're saying, like, some people are donors, and then something about, like, you're gonna give your organs to people, and then carriers. I don't know. I still don't know what that means. But they also said nobody could get pregnant. So the kids are kind of just trying to explore, you know? But I don't know, it's giving weird vibes. But I'm on part 2, and I'll update you a little bit more. I don't know if I'm liking the book, but I do want to watch the movie because Andrew Garfield's in it, and Keira Knightley. And to be honest with you, I have the audiobook, but it's due at 6 a.m. It's currently 8:08 p.m. So I need to finish this by tonight. And that is the goal. I did get some bookmarks, and they're so cute. So I have one that's flowers, and then these two are just bookshelves. And this is from Little Turkey Shop. I don't know if you could see that. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? If not, I'll just put it in the description. I know she put it here, if you're curious. Their stuff is pretty, so I wanted these ones. But I'm gonna continue reading and then I'll talk to you later. So I just finished part 2 and I'm gonna finish the book, but I'm not enjoying it. It's very slice of life, which is fine, but the thing is, the content of the book, I'm not getting, or I'm not connecting with anybody. Honestly, my red tabs are going crazy at the moment. Nobody likes each other. And if I had to choose a character, like I said during part 1, the only person I like is Tommy. I don't know how old they are in part 2, but Tommy and Ruth are dating, and how everybody treats him is so disrespectful, on the fact that he's someone who's actually nice, who is actually like sweet, and everyone just makes him like the joke of the story, or makes him feel dumb, and he doesn't say or do anything. And him and Ruth need to break up. They're not a good couple. I do think he has a crush on Kathy. I do think something is happening with Ruth and her memory, because they brought it up multiple times that she keeps forgetting stuff, but Kathy is getting upset that she's forgetting stuff about the boarding school. Um, and Kathy needs to learn how to think for herself, because her and Tommy are friends, but every time she gets into a situation where it's like, oh, should I be on Tommy's side and defend him, or be against him, not say anything, or join in on the joke towards him? And she doesn't defend her friendship with him, so she's quite shitty for that. But part 2 ended off with her leaving the boarding school to become a carrier. And I don't know if I'm stupid, but I still don't know what the hell that means. I don't know if I missed a section, but I don't know what that means. We're on part 3. And I'm curious, because I'm going to watch the movie with my friend probably tomorrow. So I'm curious to know how this movie is, because it's very slow paced and it's very detailed. But it's not like details that I care about in things, because I can't picture it anyway, because aphantasia, or whatever that thing is called, because I can't picture things or see things clearly in my mind. So the fact that this is a character heavy book, but there's not really anything for me to connect with the characters for, kind of sucks. But I feel like people will cry during this book, and I'm not crying. So I wonder if part 3 is the section that's going to make me cry, because I'm not really feeling anything towards it besides y'all pissing me off. Because, like, I'm spoiling, so maybe I should just, I'll put a spoil warning or something at the beginning of this video. But there's a section here where, this is how sweet Tommy is. Freaking, I'm so tired too. Sorry, it's late. But someone stole Kathy's cassette tape when they were kids. And on the cassette tape, there was like this one song that she would constantly rewind and just listen to the section. And it was something she enjoyed, something that was hers, and it got taken away from her. And she was upset about it, but she didn't want to bring attention to the fact that she was upset about it. So she acted like calm, cool, and collected, but was asking people if they found her music tape. And nobody stepped up and said they did. So at that time, her and Ruth weren't friends. and Ruth decided to give her a cassette tape, not the same music though, as like a peace offering. And years later, part two, they're all out like hanging with the friend group, and Ruth is being disrespectful to Tommy, to Kathy, where they end up like splitting and like separating for a bit. So Tommy goes with Kathy and he's like telling her like, "Oh, I've been wanting to find that cassette tape that you wanted," but he didn't remember the name of the artist. And they end up going shopping and she finds it, he buys it for her, and it's just so sweet of him. And then later on that week, like, he shows her like his drawings of like animals and stuff, and she thinks they're cute. Like, they're kind of on the ridiculous scale, but she finds them endearing. But when she has like a conversation with Ruth, they have a conversation about Tommy, and they talk about his drawings. But when they're talking about it, Ruth is not being a good girlfriend. She's basically laughing at his drawings, and Kathy joins in. She ends up telling Tommy they kind of suck, and he should just stop drawing in general, and throwing Kathy under the bus, saying like, "Oh, she also thinks they're not good as well." But it leads them to having another fallout. They just like make up and break up friendships all the time. It's so weird. And then I think Tommy has a crush on her, or had a crush on her, at least when he was a kid. But Ruth said some, I'm gonna say, weird thing that made me be like, "Oh, y'all are about to break up and you think Tommy's in love with Kathy, so you're trying to make sure that Kathy doesn't date him." Because basically she's like, "Well, Tommy doesn't see you as a girlfriend, and basically he thinks you're just a good friend." And that's what leads Kathy to just leaving the boarding school, because drama. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the movie is like, but I kind of don't want to watch it with my friend now, because like, what if it's boring? You know what this is reminding me of? Like, the feel of it. Let me go get the book real quick. Okay. So, the feel of this book, Never Let Me Go, reminds me of when I was reading My Policeman last year. And I was also going to do like a book to movie adaptation vlog for this. I didn't. You could see kind of, these tabs are kind of ugly, but you could see I tabbed a lot on this book, but I did not like this book. I think I ended up actually rating this book a 1 star. But this is also very like slice of life. I don't know. I didn't really like it. It was just people doing dumb shit that y'all didn't have to do. And like, if people were just honest and communicated with each other, then everything would be fine. You know what it is? It's that. It's communication. I don't like when people suck at communication, which is funny because I am the type of person who does not communicate. As in, like, if you're going to call me or want to talk to me, you need to call or actually FaceTime me, because I do not like texting. But yeah, I'm going to read the last part, tell you about it, watch the movie tomorrow, and then go to sleep. We're back. It's midnight, and I have finished Never Let Me Go. Listen. You know, you ever feel stupid before? You ever felt stupid? Because despite me finishing this book, I feel like I was missing something. Okay? Because everyone loves this story, and I wasn't getting it. And the questions that I wrote down that I needed to be answered, I felt like I didn't get it in the book. So I looked at other people's reviews when I finished this. I watched some videos, and then, you know who I went to? I went to my new best friend, ChatGPT, because I couldn't do it. So I was asking all the questions that I needed to have answered. First of all, I felt stupid. This is how stupid I feel. But I didn't do research, okay, on this book, and I didn't look at the genres. Based on how it's written, I would put it under literary fiction, okay? How it's written, literary fiction. It's very descriptive, very isolated, slow burn. You're just following around Kathy and her group of friends. You're in her mindset and her perspective of what her ordinary, mundane life is. It's very slow and very boring, okay? I'm saying that with my chest. The back of the book, okay, just says, as children, Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy were students at Hailsham, an exclusive boarding school secluded in English countryside. It was a place of cliques and mysterious rules and teachers who were constantly reminding the students that they were special. And then it goes into like, oh, like the three of them meet up again when they're older and reflect back on the past. And then it says it's like a suspenseful, moving, beautiful story. This is not suspenseful. And just to make this clear, now that I know because of ChatGPT, this is science fiction. This is dystopian. It doesn't feel like that. So this is what I now know. The characters in this book, in this school, are all clones. They're all clones. They were all genetically created because I asked why couldn't they make kids? Because that just sounded weird. So they can't make kids because, let me tell you, they're biologically incapable of having children because they're not fully human in a traditional sense. They're genetically engineered, being created specifically for the purpose of donating their organs to non-clone humans. And then it says in here, the novel doesn't deeply go into the biological mechanics of everything, but they bring it up in the first part. So that's why I was like, I'm so confused. So then I was asking more specific questions. So carriers, donors, those were the first two questions I had when I first started the book. And I still wasn't really understanding. Like I kind of understood, but didn't understand. Also, you're falling. Hello. So carriers, which they mention in the book, and which Kathy is, I guess, a clone who takes care of donors who have been giving their organs to the humans. Okay? Hear me out. Why did this happen? I don't know. They briefly mentioned a war at like the last chapter. And then left it alone. Like, this has no world building for me to think it's science fiction. Like, if this book didn't tell me it was, or if chat didn't tell me it was science fiction, I'd just be like, these are just humans in a weird ass boarding school telling them they're giving up their organs. Okay? And I did tab more. There's so many red tabs. Yeah, I didn't like the character. I didn't like the characters. The only character I guess I liked is Tommy, but everyone treated him like shit. Like, these clones have emotions like humans, so that's why I was thinking they were human. So it's written well in the fact that each character feels real, but it's lacking the scientific element of me believing it's scientific. Also, it says dystopian. It doesn't feel like that when you read it. But yeah, I was just asking it hella questions, and one of the questions I asked chat was like, why do they need organs? Right? Because they mentioned the war, but I was like, maybe I missed something else. But it says the novel does not give extensive details about wider societal or political structures that support practices, but it highlights the moral issues of cloning, exploitation, and the value of a human life. The clones are encouraged to accept their fate and are not initially told the full truth about their purpose, but as they grow older and start to understand the reality of their existence, they face deep questions about their worth, their potential love and meaning, and ethical implications of treatment. And, do they? Do they do that? Because I do feel like they're questioning everything that's happening, but they're not doing anything about it. Like, they just accept the fact that, oh, I'm born to die. Basically, that's what it is. They're born to die. And being in Kathy's head is sad and depressing and boring. I didn't care because she's not a good person. I guess she's not even a person, she's a clone, but she's not good. And despite, like, this is the second and third part is like about her being a carrier, right? Am I saying that right? I don't know if I'm even saying that right. It's too late now. But it doesn't go into details of her doing her job, so you don't really even get to see her do her job, despite the fact that she takes care of Ruth and eventually Tommy in the book. I don't know. I'm gonna go to sleep, but if I'm gonna be honest right now, I'm settling at a 2-star at most. But I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I finished this. I don't know if I'm going to watch the movie. If I do, I'll put in a clip. I'm watching it with my friend.